Did you know that most NBA draft picks get sent to play in the G League? 14 of the top 30 picks in the 2023 NBA draft are playing in the G League right now. But these rookies are playing the best. Starting with generational talent, no, not Wembanyama, I'm talking about the best high school player since LeBron James, Emoni Bates, aka the Slim Reaper 2.0. When Emoni Bates fell into the second round, I went on YouTube saying the Cavs got one of the biggest steals in draft history.
The crowd chanting defense at the end of a preseason game. I love it. And a three from the wing. What a shot by Emoni Bates.
Emoni Bates is averaging 24.8 points per game. He's shooting 46% from the field and 42% from 3-point range. He's also killing the bad defender narrative, averaging 1.5 steals and 1.3 blocks. Check out these games. 25 against the Mad Ants, 32 and 29 in 2 games versus Motor City, another 33 against Skyforce, 24 against Denver and 29 against Wisconsin. He also had 27 and 7 against the Stars and a career high 38 points against the Warriors. Emoni Bates is on a scoring tear. But this isn't anything new. Emoni Bates has been getting buckets for years. He was one of the best players in NBA Summer League. He averaged 17.2 points per game, shot 44% from the field, 40% from 3-point range. He didn't miss a single free throw, and in the championship game against Houston, Emoni had 19 points, 5 rebounds and 4 assists. He made the All-Summer League second team, and I'm not gonna lie, he should have been first team. Emoni Bates has been a bucket getter since coming out of the womb. He has the skills to be a 3-level scorer in the NBA, and if you put Emoni Bates on the Detroit Pistons and gave him the green light, he'd average close to 20 a game. And because he went late in the draft, he's actually on a good competitive team. That's why he's in the G League. In order for him to receive playing time at the NBA level, he has to prove he can be effective and efficient when he isn't the focal point of the offense. In Cleveland, he's not going to be a number 1 option. They have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. So in his current situation, the best case scenario for Bates right now is becoming a role player. If he was on the Pistons, however, his situation would be a lot different. That's a big adjustment for Emoni to make. He's been the guy his entire life, but he showed in Vegas that he can play in a winning system, because it was Isaiah, not even Evan Mobley, that was the Cavs MVP in Summer League, not Emoni Bates. I think this player is an interesting case study of scouts overthinking the draft. You don't go from the next LeBron to a second round pick in the matter of months. You can't just lose it overnight. He was arguably the best player in all of high school basketball as a freshman. Emoni had a disappointing season at Memphis, sure. He was supposed to be the next big thing and was benched after averaging 9 points on 38% shooting from the field. Was he as good as expected? No. Did he have off-court issues? Yes. But let's not forget he was 17 years old playing D1 college basketball. In regards to Emoni Bates, I always say this. Instead of reclassifying to test himself against better competition, Emoni could have just stayed in high school for his senior year, won Gatorade Player of the Year again, protected his draft stock, and then gone to a league like Overtime Elite, put up crazy numbers there, and probably would have been a top 5 pick. Had he gone that route, he'd have gone to the NBA, and what happened at Memphis would be happening right now in the NBA. That humbling experience at Memphis, in my opinion, made Emoni Bates a better player. He learned those hard lessons before the NBA. He bounced back at Eastern Michigan, showed everyone he still had it, averaged 19 a game, and that's why I think with the 47th pick, Emoni Bates is going to be one of the biggest steals in NBA draft history. Because how often do you get a player with generational scoring potential in the second round? It doesn't happen. Now I know Emoni Bates is yet to do anything in the NBA. He's played 7 games, 52 total minutes. I'll show you the numbers, but there's nothing to look at. So let's move on to the next player. The G League's leading scorer, Summer League MVP. Another one of the biggest draft night steals. Cameron Whitmore. He's averaging almost 27 points per game. He's shooting 49% from the field and 40% from 3-point range. Oh, he's also grabbing 6.6 rebounds, dishing out 3 assists and stealing the ball twice per game. Cam Whitmore was supposed to be a lottery pick. ESPN had him going 8th to Washington, but he fell all the way to 20th and was picked up by the Rockets. Why did this happen? It wasn't his play at college. Cam averaged 12.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, and was Big East Freshman of the Year at Villanova. So why did he fall? It's kind of a mystery. Some people say because of his medical history. Whitmore suffered injuries in high school and college, his knee was a big red flag, and teams didn't want to risk drafting an injury-prone player. The Rockets at 20 decided Whitmore was a risk worth taking, and so far, it looks like a good investment. At NBA Summer League with Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller, it was Cam Whitmore who played the best. Even when playing alongside top 5 picks, Jabari Smith Jr. and Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore was the Rockets' standout player. He scored the most points in Vegas, he led Houston to the Summer League final, he averaged 19.3 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 steals, and his true shooting percentage was 53%. I know people say it's only Summer League, but when you look at MVPs in the past, most of them ended up being starters or high-level role players. And if you get that with the 20th pick in the draft, that's a win. Since going to the G League, Whitmore has shown his performances at Summer League were no fluke. He's leading the G League in scoring, he's averaging 6.8 rebounds, 3 assists, he's shooting 48% from the field and 39% from 3-point range. In Vegas during the G League Winter Showcase, which is basically Summer League but in the winter, so Winter League for G Leaguers, NBA scouts were watching and very impressed with Cam Whitmore there as well. Since getting called back up to the NBA, he scored in double digits 13 times. He's averaging 12.5 points and 4.5 rebounds in 17 games. In his last 5 games, he scored 19 points against the Nets, had 17 against the Jazz, 16 against the Bulls, and he's dropped 20 points twice, with 22 against the Celtics and 24 against the Hornets. Oh, and he went head to head with LaMelo Ball and then did this.
There he was. Thompson gets it over to the rookie Whitmore. Good hands by Landale. Whitmore. Oh, Cam Whitmore.
At 6'7", 230 pounds, his physical tools tick all the boxes: size, strength and athleticism. He has a big body and knows how to use it. Defensively, he can hold his own with bigger and smaller players, and offensively, he catches bodies. Here's a tip: you see Cam Whitmore coming down the lane? Get up out of the way. He has a high percentage of catch and shoot shots, he gets easy buckets from cuts, and isn't fazed by contact and can bully his way to the basket. Cam Whitmore has a chip on his shoulder, he has it out for everyone that slept on him. He's cooked in Summer League, cooked the G League, and is now cooking the NBA. But he's going higher than 20th in a redraft, and he's shaping up to be one of the biggest steals from this year's draft. Next up on the list we have the highest drafted player so far. That's Jarace Walker. He was selected 8th by the Washington Wizards and then traded to the Indiana Pacers. Now there's a lot going on in Indiana. They made the final of the in-season tournament. Tyrese Halliburton has turned the NBA into 2K, putting up 20 points, 20 assists and 0 turnovers like that's normal. The team is above 500 and in playoff contention. But Jarace Walker has played little part in that. He's played 15 NBA games so far. He's averaging 4.9 points, 1.9 rebounds and 1.3 assists in around 10 minutes of playing time. So why did they draft him? In high school, Walker was ranked top 10, just one spot lower than number 2 pick Brandon Miller. He was a McDonald's All-American and made a name for himself playing alongside Jazz guard Keontae George at IMG Academy. With offers from Alabama and Auburn, the 5-star recruit chose to be a Houston Cougar. There, Walker started 35 of 36 games, he averaged 11.2 points and 6.8 rebounds per game. His play didn't go unnoticed. Not only was Walker AAC Freshman of the Year, he also made the second team All-AAC, all while leading Houston to a 20-4 record and to the NCAA tournament. March Madness is where Walker really made a name for himself. Head coach Kevin Sampson described him as the best Houston prospect since Hakeem Olajuwon. That's a big comparison, but Walker earned it on the floor. He was one of March's breakout stars, leading the Cougars to the Sweet 16 of the tournament where they lost to Miami, Florida. NBA Summer League revealed a lot about Jarace Walker. Defensively, he was as good as advertised. Houston had one of the best defenses in college basketball because of him. And in Vegas, he averaged 1.3 blocks and 1.3 steals over 4 games. Offensively, however, he didn't produce. He shot 17% from 3-point range, 34% from the field, and 44% from the line. Wow, that's bad. It's even worse when you realize he did this as the number 1 option and focal point of the Pacers team in Vegas. Defensively, Walker is more than NBA ready, but based on his summer league play, his offense isn't ready, especially not for Rick Carlisle's offense. So the Pacers did the logical thing and sent him down to the G League, and with the Mad Ants, we're starting to see Jarace Walker put it all together offensively. This time in Vegas at the Winter Showcase, he's doing everything he didn't do in Vegas for Summer League. He's been one of the standout players in the tournament, averaging 22.8 points, 5.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1.2 steals and 0.8 blocks. He was named All-Showcase First Team after leading the Mad Ants to the Showcase Cup final, and he's continued his fine form into the G League regular season, averaging 25 points per game. But the career high 38 points against Birmingham and several other 30-point games isn't even the main thing. The improvement from Summer League is night and day. This new improved offense is what's going to get him on an NBA floor. The Pacers have one of the best offensive ratings in the NBA. They have a system, and Walker is proving he can be a part of that. He's a 6'7" versatile forward who can be a modern day 4 or small ball 5. His wingspan allows him to defend the paint and out on the perimeter. He is big, strong, yet also agile and can jump. His inside game is solid, and his outside game is improving. He was drafted top 10 because of his two-way potential. His defense is already there. The offense is getting there, and that's exactly why Jarace Walker has been called up and is back with the Pacers in Indiana. And since returning, Jarace Walker has been a lot better. In his last 5 games, Walker's averaging 8.2 points, 3.2 rebounds and 1.8 assists. He had 15 points against the Kings and a near double-double against the Suns. He's playing a lot better, and Pacers fans gotta be happy about that. Speaking of the Pacers, they've also got this monster, Oscar Tshiebwe. I know what you're thinking, DKM, you're only hyping him up because he's Congolese, and your wife's Congolese. No, I'm hyping him up because he's 6'8", averaging 15.2 rebounds per game. I'm hyping him up because he's averaging 16.2 points on 61% shooting. I'm hyping him up because he's also shooting 55% from the free. Okay, that last part was a lie. He can't shoot and hasn't made a free yet, but still, he's a walking double-double and has mastered a dying art: rebounding. Oscar Tshiebwe isn't Wembanyama, he's not 8 feet tall, but he does have a 7'4" wingspan and consistently averages 15 rebounds a game. This guy here, Dylan, that the Lakers just signed, he just broke the record for most rebounds in a single G League game, with 33 boards. Oscar Tshiebwe is going to break that this season. Watch. But these crazy stats aren't anything new. He led the NCAA in rebounding twice. In 2 seasons at Kentucky, he averaged 16.9 points and 14.4 rebounds per game. He can play defense too. He averaged 1.7 steals and 1.3 blocks in college. He's averaging a steal and a block in the G League right now. Oscar may not be the sexiest NBA prospect. He isn't a unicorn that's gonna hezzy pull up 3. What he is an old school dominant paint player. In college, he was National Player of the Year. He won the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award given to the best center in college basketball. In 2023, being the best player in college basketball, averaging 17 and 15 at a blue blood school, isn't enough to get drafted, not even in the second round. He was picked up by the Pacers and signed a 2-way contract. Never got much of an opportunity at Summer League, but per 36 minutes, his stats in Vegas were crazy. And I know people don't like per 36 minute stats, but now that he's actually receiving that kind of playing time in Fort Wayne, those crazy per 36 numbers are basically his averages. He's already set the franchise single game record with 28 rebounds. He also had 20 points in that game. He had 33 points and 23 rebounds the game before that. This is another player I think NBA teams are overthinking. They're focusing on his limitations offensively. Can he shoot? No. Are most of his points dunks and putbacks? Yes. But what is he? A generational rebounder who has dominated box scores at every level he's ever played. Let's not forget he was a McDonald's All-American in high school who averaged 23.4 points, 18 rebounds and 5 blocks per game as a senior. He made his debut in the final of the in-season tournament, but of all the Pacers two-way players, he's the one that probably needed the $500,000 the least, seeing as he already made $3 million in NIL money. The Pacers need to stop playing, they need to give bro some minutes, because I bet he can find a role in the NBA. Anyone in the market for a small ball 5 should be looking his way. Jarace Walker was the only top 10 pick on this list, but he wasn't the only lottery pick. Magic City, listen up, we got one of your Hawks. He's a 6'6" guard, his name is Kobe, not Brian, Buffkin. In high school, Kobe Buffkin was a top 50 player, ranked 40th by ESPN, he made the McDonald's All-American and Jordan Brand Classic roster. Any guy on those lists isn't short of D1 offers. He could have went to LSU, Ohio State, Michigan State, but ended up at Michigan, along with 5-star prospects Caleb Houston and Moussa Diabate. Both of those guys were drafted and are currently playing in the G League. You want another fun fact? His family were fans of Michigan since the Fab 5 era, so this was his dream school. Kobe's freshman year at Michigan was a learning curve. He didn't play much because the team was so good. Devontae Jones and Eli Brooks were college stars. Michigan were the #1 seed in the Big Ten Conference, the top seed of the entire Eastern region, and all was up until they were upset by UCLA in the Elite 8 of March Madness. From Buffkin's freshman to sophomore year, he went from playing just 10 minutes a night off the bench to starting every game all season. He went from averaging 3 points per game to 14 points per game. He went from shooting 38% from the field to 49% from the field. His 3-point percentage improved from 22 to 35%. Heck, even his free throw percentage improved. Long story short, he got more playing time, got more touches, and huge shock, he got better. So much better that he was named 3rd team All Big Ten and was selected 15th in the draft by the Atlanta Hawks. But things weren't perfect. Buffkin struggled at Summer League. He was the Hawks' most featured player, and he did average 14 points, but shot 33% from the field and 14% from the 3-point line. Let's be real, he wasn't ready to help Trae Young in the NBA, so he was sent to the G League. And that's been working out pretty well so far. As Buffkin's averaging almost 26 a game, he's top 5 in points per game during the G League regular season, he's scoring efficiently enough, 48% from the field, good, 32% from 3, can work on that, 80% in the line, that'll do too. But he's not just scoring, 6.2 assists, 1.3 steals and 0.6 blocks. As a prospect, Kobe Buffkin has 3-level scoring potential. He's a combo guard that's been compared to the likes of D'Angelo Russell and CJ McCollum. He can finish, score on or off the ball, he has an advanced mid-range game, can score and pass out of the pick and roll as a primary ball handler, and according to sources, he's been classed as untradeable in trade talks. The worst kept secret in the NBA is that the Hawks want rid of DeJounte Murray. It's weird that the Hawks front office rates Kobe so highly because he doesn't seem to have won over Hawks fans just yet. We got another top 15 pick in the G League to talk about, and that's Jett Howard. He was picked 11th in the draft by the Orlando Magic, and his NBA career has started pretty slow. He was a top high school prospect, but wasn't a McDonald's All-American. He was ranked 44th in the nation by ESPN. He spent his senior year at IMG Academy, playing alongside Jarace Walker and Keontae George, making him the 3rd option on a stacked high school team. Where Howard really made a name for himself as an individual was at the Allen Iverson Roundball Classic. This event had top prospects everywhere, Brandon Miller, Anthony Black, Cason Wallace, but Jett Howard was the MVP of the event after scoring 20 points on 9 of 12 shooting. An ESPN analyst described him as the best shooter in the gym. Howard had a bunch of D1 offers, LSU, Georgetown, NC State, but there was only one place he was ever going to play college ball. Why is that? Maybe because his father was the head coach. Oh, and his brother Jarace Howard, he's on the team too. Jett Howard introduced himself at the collegiate level in style. He became the first Wolverine to debut with 20 points since Jamal Crawford. He scored a season high 34 points against Iowa, and his draft stock was rapidly rising. Howard led the team in scoring. He averaged 14.2 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 42% from the field and 37% from free. He made the Big Ten All-Freshman team. Jett Howard was one and done, and like Dwight Howard, ended up in Orlando. Now the strange thing about this pick is that they also drafted Anthony Black with the 6th pick. And it's unusual that a team drafts 2 guards in the lottery, especially when they have a lot of guards. The Magic have Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. Because they drafted Black higher in the draft, Howard was second fiddle in Vegas. He played off the ball in a spot-up shooter role and wasn't able to show what he can really do as a number 1 option, like most rookies get the opportunity to do in Summer League. He still averaged 13.3 points, 3 rebounds and shot 40% from 3-point range. His best game came against the Knicks. He scored 22 points. In the NBA so far, he hasn't had much luck. He's bounced up and down from the G League and only played 11 NBA games so far. He's yet to play over 10 minutes in a game, so judging him by these numbers would just be unfair. In the G League though, he's showing exactly why he was a lottery pick. In 9 games he's averaged 22.6 points, he's shooting 51% from the field and 40% from the perimeter. He's averaging 4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, he's had some big games with 34 points against the Vipers, 32 against the Knicks and then 32 again against the Swarm. Jett is a shot maker on the perimeter and well-rounded scorer. He has a rock-solid frame with broad shoulders and a lot of strength. He is a guard but has the height and build to play forward. He isn't a crazy athlete but can play above the rim, and coming from a basketball family, he has a high IQ of the game. The real question is, will he have a better NBA career than his father? Juwan was a lottery pick, played almost 20 years in the league, won 2 championships with the Heat, was an All-Star in '96 after averaging 22 a game. His dad was nice. So let me know down below in the comments if you think his son Jett can be better. Check this out. I know we're quite far into this video, but I might have forgot to mention the guy who's currently leading the G League in points per game. It was Cam Whitmore, but now since he's been called up to the NBA, it's a rookie who was selected 48th in the 2023 draft. He's recently been sent to the G League, and he's averaging 28.7 points per game. I'm talking about Clippers guard Jordan Miller. Now all the way back, despite winning a state championship and being player of the year in Virginia, Jordan Miller was an unranked prospect in high school. 0 stars, just like Ja Morant, Tyrese Halliburton and Jimmy Butler. But despite being under-recruited, Miller did receive an offer from a D1 school. He played 3 seasons at George Mason, he averaged 13 points, 5.9 rebounds and 1.4 assists per game. In 2021, he transferred to Miami, Florida, and because his junior year was impacted by the pandemic, Miller was given an extra year of eligibility by the NCAA, which allowed him to reset his junior year and play 2 years at Florida. His junior year was good, but his senior year was even better. He averaged more points, rebounds, assists, steals, improved his 3-point percentage. Oh, and he also made a name for himself in the NCAA tournament. Miami, Florida made it to the Final Four, and Miller had a great run on the big stage. He scored 13 points in the Sweet 16 against Jarace Walker in Houston. In the Elite 8 against Texas, he became just the 2nd player in NCAA tournament history to have a perfect game. Miller scored 27 points, he shot 7 of 7 from the field and made all 13 of his free throws. This was last done by the legendary Christian Laettner for Duke in 1992. Unfortunately, Miller's run wouldn't end with a national championship as Miami lost in the Final Four to the eventual champions UConn. Miller's double-double wasn't enough to take Miami to the championship game, but it was enough to put the NBA world on notice, and his March Madness performances is why the Clippers took a chance on him in the 2nd round. They saw something in him. Whatever they saw, we didn't see in Vegas. Miller averaged 6.8 points, 3.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists and 1.2 steals per game. So far in the NBA we haven't seen it. He's averaging just 1.8 points per game. But in fairness, he plays on the same team as Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You're like the 50th pick, playing with 4 MVP talents. Newsflash, you ain't touching the ball. But with the Ontario Clippers in the G League, we're starting to see the vision. Down there he gets touches. And what's he doing? He's leading the entire G League in scoring. But that's not all. He's also averaging 8.4 rebounds, which is quite impressive considering his height. Miller can play guard, he can play forward. He's a slasher that knows how to score inside the arc. He shot 62% on 2-pointers in college last season, and he's still having his way in the G League. But just because the majority of his points come from inside, doesn't mean he's a non-shooter. He shot 33% from the perimeter in college, and is shooting 35% in the G League. He ain't Kyle Korver, but he ain't Ben Simmons either. He can hit them, and there's room for improvement in that area. So far in the G League, Miller has had some huge games. He scored 36 points on 74% shooting against the Stockton Kings. He had 34 points and 13 rebounds on 65% shooting against the Stars. Then had 32 points and 10 rebounds on 60% shooting against the Spurs. He scores the ball, he defends, he crashes the boards, and he does this while being very efficient. Now his NBA opportunity, at least with the Clippers, is going to be limited this season. They have championship or bust expectations. They don't have time to develop a second rounder, and he's not going to come up to the NBA and put up the numbers we're seeing in the G League. That's impossible. But if he keeps this up and continues to dominate the G League the way he has been, if he doesn't end up breaking into the Clippers rotation, he'll be playing for a team elsewhere in the NBA. Trust and believe, Jordan Miller has some stuff. He just gotta get the chance to show it. Since we're already in LA, Laker fans, are you paying attention? I know passing up on Jaime Jaquez Jr. got a heart. The California native who played college at UCLA and is now in the running for Rookie of the Year. He was the 18th pick, you had the 17th pick and decided to draft Jalen Hood Schifino. When you put the numbers side by side, you gotta admit,
it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
But don't worry, because the Lakers might have found a diamond in the rough in Colin Castleton. He went undrafted and has been one of the most consistent players in the G League this season. Castleton's always gone under the radar. Despite being a finalist for Florida's Mr. Basketball his senior year, Castleton was slept on coming out of high school. He was a 3-star recruit by ESPN and didn't make their top 100 rankings. He got some good offers: Illinois, Georgia, Clemson. He chose Michigan, which was a big mistake. Castleton averaged these numbers as a freshman and these as a sophomore. Overall in 2 seasons, he averaged 2.1 points and 1.8 rebounds in 6 minutes a game. This wasn't good. So what do you do when things go wrong? You go home. Castleton transferred to Florida and spent 3 seasons with the Gators, and as you can see by the stats, he got a lot better. At Florida, Castleton made the All-SEC second team twice and was first team in 2023 after averaging 16 points, 7.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks per game. Despite turning his career around, Castleton, having spent 5 years in college, in NBA years, was a dinosaur at 23 years old. I say this well aware of the fact I am a month older than he is. Castleton was a projected late second round pick who actually told teams not to draft him. He did this so he could go undrafted and play in LA. That's a brave move that worked out, because the Lakers signed Castleton to a 2-way contract and he was heavily featured in Vegas. In 5 Summer League games, Castleton averaged 13.4 points, 10.2 rebounds and 4.4 assists per game. And they've been even better in the G League with South Bay. Castleton is averaging a double-double, 18.7 points, 11.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists and 1.6 blocks per game. One of his best games came against the G League Ignite, who we talked about in our last video, go check it out. Castleton recorded 27 points, 12 rebounds and 5 assists against the team that might have the top 2 picks in the draft. I know what you're thinking, doing it in the G League in college is one thing, but being a dominant 2-way player at the NBA is a lot harder. I'm not saying Castleton's about to be the next Jokic, but he can score and block shots. He is very skilled and crafty, and in the G League he's showing off his ability to be a tall playmaker, a skill a lot of NBA teams are looking for in big men. He can create his own shot inside and out on the perimeter. The only problem is he can't shoot the free ball like at all, which is weird because he hits 75% of the line. If Castleton can develop an outside shot, he could be one of the undrafted success stories you see thriving in the NBA. There is a difference between a great rim protector and shot blocker. For example, Hassan Whiteside led the NBA in blocked shots twice, but was never an All-NBA defender. Castleton isn't Whiteside. He's a very good defensive player who can contest well without fouling. That's a big thing. Now the real question is, Can he help the Lakers? I say yes. I think Castleton can be a contributor in LA at the center position, and we might get to see it next time Anthony Davis gets hurt, so probably in the next week or two. Now moving on to the last player on this list, it's you guys. You've made it up to this point in the video, so you should subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. I know it's been a while, we got hacked and then we got banned, I talked more about it in this video, but the channel is back and that means we're back. And yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say. On that note, it's DKM signing out, until next time, peace.